Welcome. This is the Late Late Show with BT, where views with security and law are being provided to you, the public. Today we'll be reading from Harper's Bazaar, March 2016, Esquire, October 2015, American Fitness, Winter 2016, People in Espanol, Agosto 2016, Golf, May 2016, and Black Enterprise, February 2016. So that's Harper's Bazaar, March 2016, Esquire, October 2015, American Fitness, Winter 2016, People in Espanol, Agosto 2016, Golf, May 2016, Black Enterprise, February 2016. So I mentioned that I'm writing a book that will help, that is to, well, that I that will serve as the fundraising, where the one book turned into three books now. Sort of like not really a trilogy. I guess I have to look up what's considered a trilogy, but I think that's more in fiction. So it's not really a trilogy, but if a trilogy, let's just look it up. Because if a trilogy is just like something that is produced in threes, then it would be a trilogy. Let's see what it says about trilogy. But I hit a block, like a little stumbling block with the Bible. I wanted to use the Bible, this particular Bible, because it was one that was given to me from the church and that I started in, which, I kind of saw that on my path with God. I saw God in it. But they it's like a force feed that they're doing, and it doesn't work with my so I'm kind of going through that, and I have to speak to somebody different. I'm trying to speak to somebody different there to see if they get what that means when it comes to discussing the Bible. um, So I'm thinking maybe the latter part of this week that may happen. Um, Another thing, I wanted to go see this. Okay, so I support the Bird Theater, which is a theater in Richmond, and it's not really, because I tend to like support things that are like ministry, just because you know that the money's going where the money's going. So it's not in that. I just supported it because the reason why I would go because I liked that it was $1.99. They would give out a penny. That's why. But they stopped doing that. But it's $4 now as opposed to the $1.99. They do where it's like $3 go towards admission and $1 goes towards a facility fee. But there is this movie there. And I saw a trailer of it and it seemed interesting to go see, called Bahubali 2. Bahubali 2. So that's Bahubali 2. So I'm like, that would be interesting to go see. But then I looked today and the tickets are $28. That is so not here. It seemed like this type of movie, Bahubali 2, if it was actually here in the presence of God, even with the God that is where we connect in India or in Indian culture, Indian faith, it would not be $28, especially at a theater that, even though it went up, it's still $4. So I'm very, very concerned because I get a title when it comes to a Bahubali too. I get that in a title. So I'm very concerned about these people that are attempting to what now the kids are $15. So the kids are less. But if you're an adult, it's $28. And that's just a little too much. It's more than a little too much. It's a lot too much. So back to trilogy. It's a set of three works of art that are connected and that can be seen either as a single work or as three individual works. They are commonly found in literature, film, and video games, and less common in other art forms. Three-part works that are considered components of a larger work also exist, such as the triptych, or the three-movement sonata, but they are not commonly referred to with the term trilogy. So it says most trilogies are works of fiction involving the same characters or settings. So I guess it would be considered a trilogy. So I guess I can say I'm working on a trilogy because it is a set of three works. They are connected. They all are a part of the Late Late Show with BT. They are connected, and it could be seen as a single work because of the Late Late Show with BT, and because of human resources, or as three individual works because they all have a different focus within human resources, of the Late Late Show with BT, and the foundation of the base when it comes to um, like allowing certain things or distribution of certain things. So it can be seen as either a single work or as three individual works. So I'm working on a trilogy. I just have to find the right Bible um, to use. And I was thinking about the book. That's what it's called. It's called the book. Let me see if I can find it. It's by Tyndale. I'm gonna write this ISBN down because I want to see if Charisma. Oh, it's only $7.49. I should get it for a paperback. It was $14.99 and it's in stock. So I'm gonna order it. And it's called The Book. It's an easy to understand Bible. It's available in the fastest growing Bible translation. It's the New Living Translation. So I'm gonna go ahead and purchase it from Amazon, of course. You know, I thought that was just a simple title. You know, it doesn't take away from the Bible. It's called The Book. And you know that we do, and speaking of which, we have a segment called The Book. And we'll be reading Ben and Me by Robert Lawson. So I've had mixed issues. Well, I'm not going to be able to purchase it right now. Oh, okay, yes, I can. So I had this book before, but I don't know what happened to it. I should get it in 2 days. So I should get it by the 27th. So I ordered that. So I'm gonna see if I can use the book. I have put in a lot of time with the one that was given to me, and this came to me because a girl that I went to high school with, Adrian, she was like, this is a good Bible and it's straightforward and I like it. And so I picked it up and I had a copy, but I don't know what happened to the copy. Um, it's like sometimes you get a Bible and sometimes they do the Bible and they don't know how to title it. I like nothing against Precious Moments, but I like the old Precious Moments brand. Um, and they, but I wouldn't necessarily want to use that particular Bible to go do it. But that's another brand that I wouldn't mind having for a Bible. The Precious Moments. I like they do the drawings of the figurines with like big eyes, and I think that it symbolizes like the innocence of people. And so I guess I like it as a Bible, because it symbolizes a certain type of character that you should be or you should have when you're going through the Bible. So the book as a title for the Bible, I think is, it's one of those things where like I'm learning, like if I'm on the right path or this is a good choice for me or this is a good place for me if I see God in it. Like I'm trying to win this house and I see God in the front yard. Like I hope I win. Like I went to this church and I saw God in it, and going to the church and I won like a sweepstakes. And not only was it was a win-win situation because I was blessed because of winning, and they were blessed because I saw the God in there, something that they were standing by, something that they were trying to found or have in business. So it was a win-win situation. It was a quick blessing, and winning a house is more of a permanent blessing. Um, and I can't believe I shared it because I kind of wanted to keep it to myself because, what if it brings out bad luck? But this is the Late Late Show with BT. And, this is, it's not really a show that holds back anything that's important, especially important to the Late Late Show with BT, because that would mean that the Late Late Show with BT will be moving to Arizona, and it will be broadcasting live out of Arizona. So there's always a cash option when it seems as if there's always a cash option when there's a sweepstakes and it's a prize or a product, that you can choose the cash option. But by me seeing the guy, even if I don't win it, it's at least I said a little blessing for, did a little quick blessing for whoever wins it because, I don't know too many people that can appreciate turf as their green, as their grass. It just seemed like I didn't, you know. So it may, just pray for me and pray for the show because it could possibly, just talking about it, I'm just going to speak over the situation, you know. Um, right now we're broadcasting out of Virginia with regards to, the United States or the nations, we're broadcasting out of Virginia, United States, and it's a little different than broadcasting out of Arizona, United States. So we're going to get to the show. And David M. Clark, the big three. If Adam Scott has his way, it will soon be the Fab Four. First, he found a ball, the new Pro V1, that increased his launch angle by 3 degrees, stealing some eddy yards. And then he went back to basics. Rather than having a swing overhaul, the fine-tuned three fundamentals that power his motion and that can also help you drive it better than ever. I still want to feel somewhat relevant out here when it comes to being one of the best players in the world. Cameron Marshall. Bradley's added motivation to bounce back. Well, when it comes to Bradley, my number one Bradley has got to be Brad Pitt. So, and bouncing back, from a situation that was not, it's like when I get his marriages, there is Jennifer Aniston, there's Angelina Jolie. I get that it wasn't an attraction. Like there wasn't a physical attraction in either both of them, in either one of them. It was something that, like when it came to being a public artist, it was something that um like there is an attempt by both of Jennifer Aniston and Angelina Jolie, in my opinion, in my perspective, or in what I have with public artistry, and again, these are used with security and law, to oppress a Brad Pitt. So it's more that he's bouncing back from being oppressed by a face that and faces that don't appear to be the face of oppression, um, rather than bouncing back from being, you know, misled or well, and bouncing back from being misled when it comes to love, but not bouncing back from hurt and pain of losing someone that he highly adored or highly admired, because that would be a mirage, or a false or an illusion when it comes to oppression. That's not something that you would like. That's not something that you would desire. So I see that in both Jennifer Aniston and Angelina Jolie. Um, so switch to better. I switch for the best ball in the wind, period. Switch to better. Be the right club. Better than most. Jessica Marksbury interview. You're a late bloomer by tour standards. You used to be known for your long, wavy blonde hair. You've been better than ever with the clean cut look. So I consider myself a late bloomer. I'm getting into this mass communication late. Um, get into acting is going to be late, even later. In terms of acting for film, because I'm participating with a church in acting, so I'm still involved in acting, um, in terms of community theater, community being the church. As far as the long wavy blonde hair, I never wore it wavy, but I do miss it. And do I think I'm better with this clean cut look that I have now? No, because I like to have my hair warm, so I'm still wearing my hats and I'm still twisting my hair. So even though it's short on both sides, It's the competition between tournaments and their sponsors for the biggest stars and the strongest fields. A crude approach would be to tally the number of top 5 or top 100 or top 200 players participating in any given event, but that wouldn't properly differentiate the value of having the world number 1 in the field instead of, say, the world number 50. A better approach is to rate the strength of the field by the probability of winning the tournament. Using that simple idea, I rated the strength of a field by the probability of winning the tournament. In order, the 4 strongest fields belong to the PGA Championship, the US Open, the Open Championship, and the Players, which returns to TPC Sawgrass this month. Starting with the 2016-17 season, partly in an effort to bring competitive balance to all tour events, players will be required to add a new event to their schedule, one they haven't played in the last 4 years. By Mark Brody. Golf with a little bite. So I remember playing putt-putt a long time ago. That's the closest that I came to playing golf. Um, it seems like something that I would like, but again, it would have to be something I'm a late bloomer at. Maybe because I'm in my going to be in my 40s now, so maybe in my 60s. Because I'm just starting to address certain issues that were oppressing me, and getting oppression when it comes to other people. And just as I mentioned with Brad Pitt, it's not oppression isn't always, the black to the dark black man to the light skinned black man or the white man to the black man. It has, just as I mentioned with Angelina Jolie and Jennifer Aniston, it looks a lot different. He wouldn't have immediately thought that a blonde, blue-eyed, um, white female or a dark-haired, dark-eyed white female would attempt to oppress him. But like I had to get a lot of things in my life because it's been very difficult to be led. Um, and I had to get that too about people, that some people are difficult to be led because they're leaders, and it's about them being in a nurturing environment to lead. And you have to be careful when it comes to, because of Jesus, when it comes to being in a nurturing environment. And I have to be careful with my senior pastor when it comes to taking on leadership roles, even though I see the God in the place, so I have to be careful which roles that I take and how. Jessica Marksberg, the Golf Channel analyst, opens up on his buzzworthy new book, Tiger's Future and the Biggest of the Big Three. Assuming he gets healthy, will 2016 be better for Tiger than 2015? Which member of the new Big Three will be number 1 at the end of this year? So, was 2016 better for Tiger than 2015? Because this is now 2017. And I guess Tiger is one of the big three, considered one of the big three. And I guess they're talking about Tiger Woods. But I would think that, you want to be better the next year, just like you want to be better the next day, than you were the prior day. So I will hope that 2016 was better for Tiger than 2015. Beat the deep freeze. Be the boss of the Nosh with these tour-tested treats. Now for Brian Manzella. Your tendency to hit your shots out toward the toe could simply be because you stand too far from the ball at address. Bad setups lead to bad swings. Then simulate impact. Open hips, torso bent to the right, hands pressed forward. Did the ball move out near the toe? Step a bit. If it did, step a bit closer to the ball with your upper arms hanging straight down. If it's too steep or if the path is out to end and you're cutting across the ball, you'll catch iron shots out toward the toe. Perch a water bottle 12 inches behind the ball on the extension of your target line. Did you hit the bottom more than once? So it's like, if I'm not golfing now, then how is this relevant to me now? The thing about golf and reading from a golf magazine is I get its relevancy when it comes to God, you know, and and I think it's important. You know, it's important to have good character if you want to golf and not just hit the ball or not for status quo. It's important to be of good character to be a golfer. We changed the ball to be a golfer here, to be a golfer that's worthy of talking about and worthy of knowing. Big time high riser. Driving it longer doesn't help if the ball lands in a hazard. Bridgestone Tour B, the oh. Paired with the new cover, the center reduces driver spin by 3%, while the outer area makes the ball faster. The Bridgestone Tower. You know, it's like I guess what I hope when it comes to anything is that when there's this, you know, like there were so many golf balls that were listed, but the only one that, you know, was mentionable to the show was the Bridgestone Tour. And you hope that whatever they put in it, you know, that it's really worth your time and not a fake. And there are so many golf clubs, but the only one that we could mention was the Callaway Big Bertha Alpha 816. Playability, it performs well from funky lies, easy to hit straight, and shaping shots is a piece of cake. Moving the sole weights definitely affects ball flight. Accuracy forgiveness keeps the ball in play, not a ton of side spin, and pretty fair forgiveness on all center hits. You can expect shots to go to the target most of the time. Bottom line, the Big Bertha Alpha 816 offers plenty of maneuverability and adjustability for strong swingers. It's a balanced performer that's one of the best models in this class. So at least I have a golf ball to go with my golf club. So I would have Bridgestone Tour with a Callaway Big Bertha Alpha 816. Which of these 20 hybrids and 16 fairway woods shine brightest? And no, they're not talking about cars, but they're talking about golf clubs. And that was with Michael Jaworski and Mark D. So the one that shined the brightest was the Big Bertha. Taste. Before you leave the Windy City, chow down on a true Chicago original deep dish pizza. I haven't had a Chicago deep dish pizza. I have had the opportunity to go to Chicago, even though it just was kind of me at the bus, you know, just going there and walking around and leaving. But I broke up with Cece's on Sunday. Yeah, you know, I would like to go to Cece's because I like their salad bar. Well, I liked the salad bar and I like their pizza. And they put like this butter on the crust where you can eat the crust because I'm not a big crust person. So the crust has to be really tasty for me to eat it. And then I looked on the wall and there were bugs on the wall. I was like, I can't go here anymore. You keep the ball in play, but a lack of distance puts pressure on your game. You hit the ball a long way, but your game needs control and consistency. Well, how would I remember any of this? And I probably won't. You know, it's just I hope it's in the Big Bertha. It might be something else. It might not be Big Bertha next time. It might not be Bridgestone Tour, but it might be. They might still be there, and they might still be relevant. Michael Bamberger. Since leaving IMG and joining Excel Sports Management 5 years ago, he has signed two of the game's gents, and young Justin Thomas, who is being courted by the world. He tried to get Kuchar a spot on the Ryder Cup task force, but took no for an answer. I don't like the term told me in another context. I don't like the term bundling. As a sports agent, Steinberg came of age in the era of the packaged celebrity athlete and concluded, I believe, that reporters working the golf beat are pests at best. Before that tea time phone call, I can recall Steinberg addressing me only once per name. Steinberg approached the table and Trump said, Mark, you know Michael Bamberger, the publisher of Sports Illustrated, one of the most powerful people in all of sports. A sinner would be tempted to tell you to follow the money on that one, but there's surely more to it than that. Last year, Sunday night at the PGA Championship, you can watch Steinberg wheel out Justin Rose' empty travel bag from the Whistling Straits locker room and reach only one conclusion: he's still hungry. And that was the gospel according to Mark. Breaking the chains of financial abuse. So I thought, it was my thinking that the reason why I haven't gone to, like I have my own business that I'm doing this show as a volunteer with it, like a volunteer service. Um, but I haven't pushed it, because of the financial statements that you have to, it just seemed like that has always been a challenge for me. And know, it's like at this time, I don't know if that'll ever not be a challenge, so I don't know if it'll ever be a time where I can proceed with having a business that has employees without having a partner that has that strength. But, every day I'm working to get better, and that includes financial, my attitude, any attitude flaw that that has it, or if I'm being abused financially someplace, um, that I need to put in check. Um, Natasha Granholm Partner. I also believe that seeing diversity in the top ranks of PwC sends a strong message. If you can see it, you can be it. Smash D Labs doesn't have the brand recognition of programs like YC or 500 Startups, but Carter's connections to celebrities and influencers are valuable assets to startups and early stage companies. He is well known for being Lady Gaga's former manager, in addition to being an early investor in breakout startups such as Uber, Spotify, Dropbox, Warby Parker, and Lyft. Formerly known as Insta Sneaks, Throne is changing the way sneakerheads think by transforming shoe collections into a digitized locker, curated collection, and secondary source of income. Frustration and designed to facilitate buying, selling, and discovery around sneakers and streetwear. And it says consumers often use online marketplaces such as eBay and Amazon to buy and sell sneakers. Some have even gone to social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, not only to buy and sell, but to connect with other sneakerheads. My goal is to use my privilege to provide access, inspiration, and resources to others to ensure they're not left behind or forgotten about. Power Moves. NOLA helps participating entrepreneurs refine their business models, shape their go-to-market strategies, connect with advisors, and secure early investment to launch, operationalize, and scale their businesses. Winning entrepreneurs don't have to give up equity in their companies, and such funds do not have to be repaid, and typically can be used to either start a new business or enhance an existing one. The Miller Lite the Future Business Plan Competition, formerly known as the Miller Coors Urban Entrepreneur Series, is an annual competition for minority business owners sponsored by the beer brand Miller Lite. The program has three phases: the business plan submission, live pitch events for three top semifinalists, and a national final live pitch event. One winning business team from each of the six city-wide pitch competitions is awarded $20,000. Carolyn and Brown. And I'm sure there's so many resources out there that, help people with small businesses, or, it's about staying, I guess, I don't really know what it's about. If you have to stay connected, if you have to reread, reread, like one of my teachers said, you have to, you know, read these magazines like Black Enterprise, to even find a Miller Lite Tap the Future Business Plan competition. Yeah, I don't even know what they look for. I don't even know if my business could use a $20,000. It's like things like that that are. Let's see if they have a website. So there's no website. Because it's like, I don't know if you can just go to and just say, okay, I have the money to put on this show. And so they do have it's mltapthefuture.com, that they have a web page for. So they want you to put in your birthday. Now, I'm not going to say that back to breaking up with Cece's Pizza, I'm not going to say that I was addicted, but I was going there pretty often. So this is beer with Miller Lite. And they have one that just passed. You had to have submitted by April 14, 2017, and this is now April 25. So, um, and I'm not a beer drinker. I do not like beer. It does not go well with my tongue. So let me see. Is that a Damon John? I see Damon John speaking on it, and he showed up. So it's like Damon John is a part of this, because he's like in almost every picture. Carolyn and Brown's tip of the month. SurveyMonkey.com, GetFeedback.com, CustomerSure.com, and Highly.com fit the bill in this case. Edited by Stacy Tisdale. The event turned out to be an aha moment for Barnes. Regardless of income or occupation, Barnes is noticing similarities between Black women when it comes to financial behavior that she feels they need to be aware of. Black women are the breadwinners in the family, but quite often they're so busy taking care of others that they don't take the time to take care of themselves. Once they see a light at the end of the tunnel, they begin to see ways they can build their wealth, said Barnes. The amount a person invests is going to depend on their personal circumstances, needs, risk tolerance, etc. But the most important thing is to start growing something for yourself. Stacy Tisdale's tip of the month. There is no question that home ownership is one of the smartest ways to build generational wealth. But just like all financial decisions, the choice to buy a home should be made within the context of your overall life goals. A survey by Interest.com found that 1 in 4 people regret buying their home. So I mentioned that we, um, during the sweepstakes. We're entering the sweepstakes for the Scottsdale, Arizona home. And but other than that, I'm pretty settled in Virginia just because of my senior pastor, has kind of settled me. Because there was one point, where I was thinking about going to Los Angeles and trying my luck there. You know, um, staying in a shelter for 3 months. They give you 3 months in a shelter there, and I was going to try it for 3 months. Because I was getting fed up with the location that where I'm at right now. So I'm praying that God knows what I need. He knows what I need. He knows how I need it, and I just can just stay in prayer and speaking that grace in my life on top of my situation. Lending a voice from behind the scenes. Outside of an agent, are there any other tools or resources people need to become a successful voiceover actor? That's one thing that I haven't had the opportunity to do yet. I really would like to. You know, that's some work that I really um, would like to be involved in. Courtney Conley. Courtney Conley's tip of the month. The purpose of this method is to avoid using unconscious bias in the hiring process and to ensure a company isn't hiring applicants who only appear to be a right fit for the job on paper. Sometimes it's like I've grown to not I don't know, like I haven't like I've learned that I'm not a resume type person right now. I'm just an application. Like specific names, ask me what you want to know, maybe ask you questions and interview, as opposed to all the um, necessary things that are expected on a resume. So back with Courtney Conley, how many people have gone through the internship program thus far, and how many have come aboard the Maryland family? So I haven't, when I was in college, when I was working full time, I didn't have the chance to do a internship. So that's one thing that I'm going to make sure that I do going back to college this time, is to do an internship that is in the field. You do a lot with creating opportunities and mentoring the next generation, but what's the best piece of career advice you received? I haven't had any really good career advice. I've had some good biblical guidance, but I haven't had any career advice yet that I can recall and say that was really a really good thing. And Courtney Conley. Odin hires approximately 1,700 advisors a year while also coaching and training current advisors within the company on the growth of their business and client acquisition. So I figured out that the only thing that I really want to do, that I really want to have, is this trilogy and the show. So I've been trying to, since these publications are something dear to me, when it comes to publishing and mass communications, I really want to incorporate it into the show. So I'm trying to figure out how it can translate into an actual national show where I'm still using my vision. So breaking the chains of financial abuse. Then we're going to get into that financial abuse, which Stacy Tisdale. Black Enterprise would like to thank the Allstate Foundation for connecting us with a victim of financial and domestic abuse as we work to bring attention to this important issue. When I saw what he was doing, I ran to the garage and shut the door so that he couldn't back the car out. I did the budgeting. Every time we bought a car, I would have to try and fit it into the budget. In 2009, we even had to file for bankruptcy, says Janet. Meanwhile, a poll conducted by the Allstate Foundation found that 75% of Americans fail to connect domestic abuse with economic abuse, yet it plays an integral role in 98% of all cases of domestic violence. In addition, the curriculum provides financial education and skills to victims of financial and domestic violence by teaching them financial basics such as credit repair, budgeting, and saving. Her husband, who worked at a company that built vinyl doors for houses, made slightly less. Make a plan. Be realistic about what the costs are going to be on your own. Are you going to be able to get an apartment? You also want to gather legal documents such as birth certificates and social security cards, property documents such as title documents, vehicle registrations, and insurance policies, and health records. So I guess it comes when it comes to financial abuse. I'm hoping that um, a particular person that's close to me isn't receiving financial abuse because of where she has to reside at this particular point in time to be here. Um, so we're working through that as we speak. By the numbers. So some angel investors, from corporate executives to seasoned business owners, key female players are entering the angel ecosystem to become investors and empower new entrepreneurs. And of them, we have Erica Dubman Minihan, managing partner and head of Dealflow 1000 Angels. Dr. Lisa Johnson Pratt, head of Pipeline Commercial Strategy GSK, and Jennifer Pettaway, risk assurance manager of PricewaterhouseCoopers. So let me see if I can find anything on these people. Like how do you contact them? Like how are they considered angel investors? You contact them there. So it looks like she was working there, but she doesn't do that anymore. So she's now working at Dreamit. She is a managing so it doesn't really say. It mentioned it because here she's a managing partner and head of Dealflow, but here she's not. So I think that's a good thing that people, especially when they grow up a certain way, that's different. When they grow up and like my father had to make a certain decision when it came to marriage. And so I'm gonna write this because I'm gonna write these angel investors' names down. Because when I finish my show, I typically just I'm gonna write these names down. I tried going to the Shark Tank, but that didn't help. Because it seemed like I'm not a good fit for the Shark Tank. The Shark Tank seem like they want people that's already out there producing stuff, and um, they have like their brand already out there. They already have a store and a business. I seem like I'm a good fit for that because all I'm doing is an online show. But I'm gonna keep these names near, and maybe call them up and ask them because they're listed as angel investors and ask them, if they will be interested in what I have to offer. If I can just find out more information to see if they're a good fit because, we are up against the situation with step parents and those types are not a good fit for us at this time, especially when we're in a fight for it. It's like we're fighting up against this, what God has for us when it comes to step parenting. So those are three: Courtney, Conley, and Lisa Frazier. Comcast, our client, made an introduction with NBC Universal Seth Ferguson, and this was the first in terms of an African American agency being given the breadth and depth of responsibility for promoting the Wiz, being involved with developing all the assets from digital, print, radio, and helping to drive viewership. I think part of what was impressive to them was how we've been able to be successful in building clients and building brands, says William Lawson, because it's not typical for campaigns to tap non-political agencies to do this level of work. The leading ladies are Creative Director Lisa McConnell, VP Media Director Adele Lassier, SVP Group Media Director Linda Jefferson, VP Media Director Deborah Gray Young, and Associate Media Director Donna Hodge. The Boreal team is certain that they will continue to be leaders in the industry for decades to come. JM and G are very much committed to making sure that Boreal is still around in another 10, another 20 years, and they are doing that by making sure that they are anointing the next generation of leaders who will move the agency into the future. Tracy D. Brown, serving as Senior Vice President and Chief Member Officer for Sam's Club, Tracy D. Brown joined the retail giant, which generated 2015 net sales of $58 billion in October 2014, with more than 25 years of experience in driving global business growth, connecting consumers with brands, and creating omni-channel experiences to build consumer loyalty. The goal is to weave a rich tapestry to get the best thinking. Where we recruit, who we seek out, the places we speak, the places we have our clubs located, are all places where we source to bring the best, brightest talent. The beauty of that is when you look at the cross section of who these new ones are, they span the gamut of all races, different income levels, and all age groups, as needs are needs, says Brown. We're saying what are the needs that have to be met, and Sam's Club can be the one meeting those needs, communicating to you in ways that are relevant, that are emotionally connected, and that have nothing per se to do with us trying to define what is based on demographics. So I never worked for Sam's Club. I only worked for Walmart, and it wasn't a good experience. Resolve to be fit. Step up to balance, curl and overhead press. Lower dumbbells, return lift leg to the ground. Step off the box to starting position. Regress. Omit the balance hold. So Stacy's saying, without a strong structural base to move from, how can we continue to build upon our foundation or safely excel in our fitness endeavors? Stabilization, endurance training uses high repetitions and proprioceptively enriched activities that challenge and exercise balance. These proprioceptive type activities are progressively introduced from stable to unstable. The additional muscles recruited to stabilize the body, the higher repetitions, the minimal rest between sets, or the use of a circuit format can enhance the calorie burning of the session. So without a strong structural base to move from, how can we continue to build upon our foundation or safely excel in our fitness endeavors? I guess the answer that I can give to that would be that when you are in constant prayer, when Jesus is your Savior, and you are in that, you may not be as strong as you want to be, but you're getting better and you're praying to be better. And that's how it's possible to continue to build upon a foundation because you have a foundation already. It may not be as strong as you want it to be, but you have a foundation already that where Jesus is your Savior, and that's the strength that that's all the strength that you need. Bigger than ever, with a place for you to engage. Our light bulb moments. I guess my light bulb moment when it came with regards to the Bible and Jesus is when I started getting it from what was given to me, as opposed to like getting always trying to get the pastor's Jesus, or this person's Jesus, or that is Jesus, and how to get your Jesus without putting down someone else's Jesus. Want to be with you. We took the best of technical design and applied it to clothing for your real life. What to buy now? I haven't been buying too much of anything now, except for culinary. I've been buying the items from the culinary arts right now. And gas, to get me from one place to the next. I've been tithing. I've been using my gas and my tithes so that I can't give. It's like I can give one or the other, like my time or my gas. I can't be present and participatory. Even though the church picks up, but the church picks up, they take you to only the local church, not the main church. So, it's, like you can't do both. So, what to buy now? Putting Jesus first. So again, like something that sustains your Spirit Your Hunger, that satisfies your hunger with the culinary arts. It's something that you can buy now that keeps you in that work, keeps you in the flow. And and that's because I don't have a kitchen, you know, per se. So that and um, something that's pertaining to having you participate with your faith. The bomber jacket. 10 pieces to buy now. And of those 10, the basic style gets an edge in cool flared leather. And that's one. And the second one is different to the bourgeois trend, or the boudoir trend, with a neutral color pajama top in silk or satin. Tommy Bahama. Between the lines. Again, that light bulb moment, of how to discuss and connect with the Bible by understanding between the lines, and that's kind of what I'm having a problem with this company right now called Biblica, is because, like, I'm like, that's like you're giving, they want, what the issue that I'm having with is them like giving me a salad with lettuce, tomatoes, and onions, and wanting me to keep the onions, even if I'm allergic to it, even if it's not good for me. Don't want me to take it off. So I'm praying on that situation. Laura Brown. Ooh, I felt like just the grandest girl, especially the way my swishy accessories made a little breeze on my exposed shoulders. God forbid a lady waxed on her costume laws, though, because one day the long earring was gone, vanished. A girl couldn't even find a tumbleweed for decoration, but Steph Warrior's long earrings returned. Alexander Wang's chain rings were street smart, while Prince's strollers resembled another flower yet to bloom. R.A.Y. Vitamin's triangular gold pieces, maybe because they're a hybrid version of my two favorite earring memories, India and the disco. Cleopatra would love them, but guess what? So it's back to my fashion days, and even when I was in the fashion thing, like again in high school, it was my fashion only spanned my senior year. This my senior year and the year after my senior year. So my first year in college, because I designed my prom outfit, and then I designed the widow outfit to that I needed for the debutantes that came after our debutantes. So, and I was never like into, all of these designers. And I remember this one lady that it's not really a good experience with her, but just I'll say this about her is that she would keep abreast of what the designers were doing. Like she was approaching, she started school, so it was like she was a late bloomer at that particular time because she started school. Like she didn't complete college, but she didn't start college immediately after high school. So and she kept up with all the designers. And I remember that was something that I didn't even do. So I don't know if that is a mainstay quality of somebody that's in fashion, but again, she didn't complete. So I guess it's not because maybe because she didn't complete. Like it doesn't have to be. Courtney Love. I didn't know it was going to be a standout moment. The boudoir trend carried from spring 2016 into free fall, appearing at Alt Zara and Givenchy. I'm glad they're back, says Love, who recently collaborated with Nasty Gal on a bedroom-inspired collection. Is that her real name, Courtney Love? So no, that's not a real name. It's actually Courtney Harrison. David Bailey. David Bailey's new monogram, Tears and Tears, sheds light on the photographer's dark room process, compiling the best of the test tears he preserved over his 57-year career. Lupita Nyong'o comes to Broadway in Eclipse. Daniel Guerrero's hit play about 5 women in war-torn Libya. So, Eclipsed. It's a 2015 play. And the following year, transferred to Broadway, premiering at John Golden Theater on March 6, 2016. And Lupita Nyong'o, she won Favorite Leading Actress in a Play. Broadway by Broadway.com Audience Award. She won the Theater World Award, Outstanding Broadway or Off-Broadway Debut Performance. Yeah, so she won 2 awards for that. And she's nominated for a Tony for Best Actress in a Play. So the Tony Awards are supposed to be I forgot. They're supposed to be like it's some white guy. They're supposed to be presented. I forgot who's doing it. That's for this year. But the Tonys were first awarded in 1947, 70 years ago. So I love to act. I want to get my master's in acting. That's not something that's going to change. I'm going back for a bachelor's, and then I'm going to find a master's program that I can do. It's just that I don't really want to go to University of Virginia for acting. It's like I feel like I have to go away for it. And, like I still have a mother that I'm caring for. I'm still a caregiver in the state of Virginia. So I either got to win a house or someone's got to give me a house or, something where my mother can be cared for and not forgotten. Fit to be sexy. Fit to be confident. Fit to be powerful. Fit to be iconic. But when I got my life, because I'm like I was like I'm in a very low bracket when it comes to income. I'm like, okay, so with all that I have and all of my, all that I want to do and all that I see myself doing is like I am in the sweepstakes arena, so I don't play the lottery. So I can't put my dollars into the lottery hoping I'm going to win something. So the maximum that I could win is what's allowed or what's done with sweepstakes. So I've been doing, just been, trying my luck with the sweepstakes that different publishings have, like Meredith and Hearst. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. I'm praying that, because I see it's another area of support that I see the God in. But that's not anything that's right away. You have to be consistent and just stay with it. Beauty news. Diddy diaries. I probably had a diary before, but it didn't last. How to burn 1,000 calories in an hour. That's one way to, I guess, by me breaking up with Cece's Pizza. In that hour, I probably lost 1,000 calories because, I'm not eating the pizza. I'm not choosing to eat the pizza. Of course, they have a salad bar, but you can't go to CC's and just have salad. You have to have salad and pizza. And that's just the one in Columbia Heights. Now, if I happen to be somewhere and I check out one of the other CC's, it might be different. But I tried the one that's off of Broad Street, and I didn't like theirs either. You know, the guy that was working, he eating pizza on the side, like it just wasn't good service. Um, like it was half and half. It wasn't, so it couldn't be good. It was just so. The buzz on the scene. Out of the box, in November, Sharp was our editor, and 40 guests gathered at the Toots Rockefeller Center store in New York City to shop the latest jewelry collections from the brand. Attendees sipped Prosecco, browsed the store, and took home a Toots jewelry box, along with the latest issue of Harper's Bazaar. Drew Barrymore. After 3 decades in the spotlight, the actress and producer and now beauty magnate keeps stoking the flames by Laura Brown. Now she's one actress that I like. Her and Emma Brown, Emma Stone. Then I will clench my fists and scrunch my face a little bit and breathe rapidly, focus my eyes on something, and then blow it up. And I got to be in his office, that famous attic he writes in that's on the cover of his book on writing. She divides her time between raising her girls and blossoming her nascent businesses, Flower Beauty and Barrymore Wines. She adds, I think it's a huge mistake to think you have to burn bright for your whole life. Same as every parent, trying to make life fun for them, exhaust them, love them, feed them, be affectionate, be silly, just be present. To Java iced tea, by the way, extra large, which, after years of knowing Barrymore, I am yet to see her without. Another day could be in a lab or on a plane for a 2-day jaunt on a business trip. If I was obsessed with the world of film the way I used to be and may one day be again, I would love to make Firestarter. It would be emotionally interesting because it'll all be together in this little world. Wouldn't they just be too adorable, lighting Stephen King's cigarettes at parties? So she started when she was a kid. I remember her from Firestarter. Um, that's probably why she just seemed likable. Her and Emma Stone, they just seem likable in there. It might not be likable where they can't mix in different communities. Like they might not have mixed in different because I haven't seen either one of them. Well, she was, there was Lisa Lee and Charlie's Angels, but but when it comes to it's like you don't want to be like, I have black friends, but I haven't seen, like, just from like, the white girl that has white friends, like Emma Stone and Drew Barrymore. The white girl, she seems alright, but she has white friends. Yeah. Lisa Armstrong. To be fashionable in the spring of 1953 was to follow precise instructions about gloves, not wear navy blue in a Dr. Tulip silhouette. You thought slouchy was a challenge? For spring 2016, Gucci invented a new kind of maximalism, plus maximalism mojo that makes the old maximalism look austere. Celine had tunics of deceptive and disarming simplicity that can only be the fruits of unbelievable, complicated fabric wizardry. The front was wearing loose paneled pinafores from a collective called Ventiments, whose leader is now in charge of Balenciaga. There were flat, square-toed Mary Janes on the runways, dainty, pointy-toed slingbacks, trainers, and sequins that haven't been this smiled upon since Diana Ross went solo. I say are because there is no we in this. The exquisite embroideries on Sarah Burns' ripped denim and Alexander McQueen, the Maasai inspired beading on Valentino's tie-dye tunic, the patchwork hearts and stars on Gucci's colored loafers, Spring's ready-to-wear collections, polished, shimmering, and sometimes dripped with artisanal details that usually confined to haute couture. Drop necklines and partially attached sleeves place the focus firmly on the part of the body that ages best, whether it's via a slinky knit sliding gently off one shoulder or a tiered peasant blouse. Keep hair simple and straight away from the base, ready to show off the season's herbalist earrings. By that I mean bags and shoes, your A to Z of fashion grammar. Who decided, who made the decision that I would go to school for fashion? Where to buy? Where your money is valued. Because I'm reading, this tired peasant blouse, and, like I never appreciated fashion like that. It's like I just have a different appreciation for fashion, and it's not in those type of details. It's in like it's in just keeping people safe with regards to fashion, and it's not where okay they have to wear flats all the time because they might trip and fall if they had a heel on the end of it. But um, it's like you start thinking. I mean, you get that fashion does contribute to people's safety. You don't want to be that T-shirt or that shirt that was worn that had the bullet hole go through it or the stab wound in it. That was actually possible with your shirt, or that was actually possible with your jacket. With your hat. How can you stop that? By being strong in your faith and incorporating that into fashion. Lisa DePaulo. He is sweet and polite, and makes sure I'm comfortable in the sun behind the Christmas trees, three of them, several stories tall, bedecked in Christmas theme for the season, candy cane, stripe everything, and brings me a Fiji water. Thanks to the multitude of security cameras in the house, which are separate from the TV cameras, the perp was identifying the rest by the time I got there. Little by little, and try to be tolerant, Chris says, because there's transgender and transsexual, and there's he was just an amazing man, she explains, adding that as she went through the Bruce Caitlin thing, she wished she could call him to have a solid shoulder to lean on or maybe cry on. It's worth noting that before there were Kardashians to be kept up with, Chris helped resurrect Bruce Jenner's career early on in their relationship, helping him secure speaking engagements and endorsement deals. You have to just be there. He's the best, that's best. After she's bothered by the unseemly circumstances of the situation, she shakes her head. No. He just doesn't want to be on camera as much as the rest of us. One thing people don't realize about him is not only is he so beyond talented, but he's also a genius. He's the best daddy and the best husband. When I asked Chris about the biggest slam against her, that she sold out her family for fame, she removes her saline reading glasses and starts staring straight into my eyes. So I don't really want to comment on that because I don't really get this whole Kardashian thing and Bruce Jenner. Who's the dad? Is he Kim's dad? Is he her husband? And he changed his name. He was born with William Jenner. And if she's Kris Jenner, how are they Kardashians? So she was born Kristen Houghton. Oh, she had married a Robert Kardashian, but they were divorced. Okay, I'm getting a little bit because I was watching RuPaul's and they did a Kardashian musical. So it seems as though Chris was married to Robert Kardashian. That's where the name Kardashian came from. And she has 6 children. And I guess they're all Kardashians. So the question is, Bruce Jenner, any of their dad? Oh, okay. So she has 2 children with Bruce. So 4 are with Robert Kardashian. That's Courtney, Kim, Chloe, and Rob. And then Kendall and Kylie are her 2 kids with Bruce or Caitlyn Jenner. Kendall and Kylie. So I guess what he was up against too, it's like that step parent, not being a step parent. So to get out of that, trying to have mother, trying to have Chris as mother, it really get put out there when you're public. Um, to save his life, he went into Caitlyn. It's like he was one of the ones that was willing to do what it takes, to have peace with, and have his children and someone else's children, not just his children, but her children as well. Laura Brown. In another, the studio in which Sherman creates her unsettling and subversive portraits, but which for almost 40 years have recast culture's perception of women and men, heroes and victims, and the vastness in between. There are wigs everywhere, a rack of costumes, an intimidating computer, and pieces of notepaper on which are scribbled character clues like coquette and most intriguing blueberry. When I say I'm too busy, they send them. Sherman does not live to be photographed. I never expected to be doing what I'm doing for as long as I've been doing it, she says. I guess it makes sense. It's business, but there's just something dead about the whole thing. I didn't want it to be obvious though. But they still look like they're somebody, rather than just me with makeup on. But I like limitations because they make you think of other ways of getting around that. The clothing, of course, allowed Sherman to become lots of girls. But there was a snake on the back that was really cool. Other than being super long, I kind of like this look. Of course, fashion is most basic tool of transformation, one that Sherman jumped on. In the mid-'80s, I did some stuff for this boutique in Soho, Diane Reed. I was fascinated by that. They were already established as a family by the time I came along, she recalls. Asked if she's still ambitious, and she advised, I want to continue to be happy with what I'm working on because that's the biggest challenge. I guess so, because as you're getting older, like I really like going to DC to volunteer at this theater. And I learned now that as I got older that I don't really want to do that. So I'm gonna have to step away from that because there is a theater here in Virginia that right in Richmond that I hadn't um volunteered for, like right here in Virginia. And I just thought about it, like I have to like email them, that I don't really want to do that. I don't really want to um, go that far. And, like I don't really want to do that anymore. I don't want to go that far anymore. Like I don't think I want to drive that far to win the stage. And it's not a ministry. Maybe because I've gotten so into. I'm not going to email her yet. Maybe after the show. But I've gotten so into church and just being careful where my money goes, that I don't want to. You know, and I wanted to go see Boss Baby because there's this theater that's a ministry, um, and they have they between $6 for a matinee and it's $7.50 regular show. They have the Boss Baby, and I want to go see that. But you know, it seemed like it's gonna be funny. But the thing is, you know, you have someone playing a baby. You ask, well, did he and anybody else who were playing any of the other babies, did they require that they abstain from sex for however many months that their baby was? You know, did they require that to be cast? Because that's kind of like ill if they didn't. You know, you're a grown man smoking cigars and playing a baby. So by being at this ministry, I don't know if it's going to be there Saturday. If it's still there Saturday, oh, I can't because I work Saturday, all day Saturday. I was going to say, if it's there Saturday, I will go see it. So I'm not going to be able to see it. I'm going to have to catch it on Redbox. A legacy and early bottle. John Steinbeck, the Lawson vigilante, October 1936. His brain told him this was a terrible and important affair, but his eyes and his feelings didn't agree. John Cheever, the death of Justina, November 1916. And that John Steinbeck, the Lawson vigilante, was October 1936. And again, that was his brain told him this was a terrible and important affair, but his eyes and his feelings didn't agree. John Cheever, the death of Justina, November 1960. I stand figuratively with one wet foot on Plymouth Rock, looking with some delicacy, not into a formidable and challenging wilderness, but into a half-finished civilization embracing glass towers, oil derricks, suburban continents, and abandoned movie houses, and wondering why, in this most prosperous, equitable, and accomplished world, where even the cleaning women practice the chopping, preludes in their spare time. Everyone should seem to be so disappointed. William Cottinkle, Horse Bedortes goes out, September 1973. Sunglasses, tape recorder, fan, umbrella, satchel, used tea bag, discussing blah blah something. My tire pump, man, in this medicine or herb from the Himalayas, the leaves of which bloom only once in 1,000 years, and I have a shipment of it waiting for me in a subway tunnel. Go horse, go man, out into the real world. Kimberly Roberts, Hurricane Katrina survivor, January 2009. How could I believe that God was not involved in that? Dwayne Dog Chapman, January 2009. I loved her so much that I loved her to death because 2 weeks later she got killed in a car accident. Well, it's never a good thing, never a good feeling to feel like something that you said or something that you did caused somebody's death. You said, I love her so much that I've loved her to death because 2 weeks later she got killed in a car accident. You know, um, I felt like that was my aunt. You know, that there was something that I could have done differently that would have caused her to still be here. You know, this person made me feel like that's what he was feeling. Like he didn't love her so much. You know, he just loved her, but not as much as he did that she really got killed. You know, I was considering my aunt as like the favorite aunt. You know, and sometimes you do have to be careful with that. And it's like somebody's favorite, there's another aunt, but you put all your favorites someplace else. And, not knowing how special your favor may be to somebody or to the world or to the public, you know, and, not knowing that, not knowing the difference between dancing with somebody who is already out there as Miss Virginia versus dancing with somebody that, um, just went to college and had a degree in dance and started their own dance company. And there's a difference when someone is out there as, you are a part of it as something, public, um, even if it's on a state level. So another reason why I decided to go back to school for mass communications. And that's still waiting for a school to give like them information, which I don't even know why it's that important because it was non-credit experience on your tablet and get even more great stuff. Thinking time in a bottle is the same as time in a barrel. Charles P. Pierce, but he also had an innate strength and as shrewd an eye for the nation's broken promises and lost opportunities as anyone else who was pointing them out at that turbulent time. That was the name he gave up to become Muhammad Ali, a measure of the rolling, unceasing tide of race that flows under everything in this country. Chris Jones, and that was Charles P. Pierce on Muhammad Ali. Chris Jones on Tom Brady. Tom Brady will always win. I mean it in the sense that if Lucifer walked the earth, he would be someone very much like Tom Brady, and he would be impossible to kill. A sixth round pick in the 2000 NFL draft, Brady dispatched Drew Bledsoe like an all-shucks assassin and has ducked and escaped brutality, mostly unscathed for 14 seasons since. What would actually surprise you about Tom Brady? I could tell you whatever I wanted about Tom Brady, however glorious or sinister, and you would believe it. And that way, Tom Brady is the New England Patriots, and the Patriots are the National Football League, and the National Football League is the USA. Each is capable of anything, and that includes ugliness in the name of beauty, perhaps most of all. Charles C. Pierce on Barack Obama. In the end, it seems he knew us far better than we would ever know him. That is going to be the enduring mystery of Barack Obama, the 44th President of the United States. Then, because his very presence in the White House created a new and baffling mystery in the great American paradox of race and freedom, he confounded expectations. In his first term, he carried himself like a lame duck and was accused of being both too conciliatory toward his political opponents and too ruthless toward the country's perceived enemies overseas. He knew what the country was capable of, moment by moment, almost second by second, because he understood us far better than we would ever understand it. And he repeated that twice, that he understood us far better than we understood him. I don't agree with that. John H. Richardson on Angelina Jolie. We loved her as a wild child, with her tattoos and vials of blood and feral doomed beauty. Then the strangest thing happened. She reinvented herself as a badass action hero, and somehow it made perfect sense that the most vulnerable woman in the movies could become the most invulnerable. In a troubled time, America's most troubled daughter grew up and turned into a solid citizen. I don't agree with that either. I think that she was in Brad Pitt's life to oppress him and to continue on the oppression that um, was started by Jennifer Aniston. And it was an impression that spans the United Nations oppression. She was trying to oppress him with the United Nations. So I don't agree with that. I think that she was still a troubled daughter that was willing to oppress her fellow man. Eyes on the Prize by Gregory James. He found the defeat incomprehensible. Not only had he been rejected, as he wrote in one memoir or another, but the country had chosen a horse determined to run back as fast as possible in the opposite direction. He got back to Plains to find that his peanut-related concerns had tanked. And that was in October 1995, Eyes on the Prize by Gregory James, and it's on Carter. And you have Mark Warren. You can build to defend the endurance of man, to protect his existence, to illuminate it. The article appeared less than a year after the Harlem Race riots in 1964, and it envisions a future in which most of the capital of Black America is razed and redesigned as parkland and cloverleaf highways, while the people of Harlem, who are hardly mentioned in this strident manifesto, are re-engineered into tidy two-bedroom apartments and steel and glass super public housing Christmas trees towering 100 stories over the remains of their old neighborhood in Manhattan. If you didn't know who the putative author June Mayer was, and Esquire didn't bother to tell anyone, you wouldn't have known that she was better known in the world as the Harlem poet and activist June Jordan, who actually was co-designer with photo of Skyrise for Harlem, a project thoroughly of its time, a time when the conditions of Black America were so terrible that utopian space housing was seen as the only way out for America. That's why I was straining toward the future, and in the pre-civil rights era, hundreds of stories on race could fairly be described as one part racist. Esky was always finding himself in a boiling pot, being stirred by somebody with a bone through his nose, and two parts enlightened, publishing Langston Hughes' most famous poem, Let America Be America Again, July 1936. Let America be America again. Let it be the dream it used to be. Let it be the pioneer on the plain, seeking a home where he himself is free. All along the block, for anyone who knows it, are immense human gaps, like craters. These gaps are not created merely by those who have moved away, inevitably into some other ghetto, but by those who have risen, almost always into a greater capacity for self-loathing and self-delusion, or yet by those who, by whatever means, War II, the Korean War, a policeman's gun, or Billy, a gang war, a brawl, madness, an overdose of heroin, or simply unnatural exhaustion, are dead. Ola sat up slowly, not to answer but to look at this brooding black vision. It towered darkly some 6.5 feet into the air, almost touching the ceiling, and its skin was so black that it had a bluish tint. The big black cloud of a man now lumbering into the office, bending to get its buffalo-like head under the doorframe. Then it bent slowly upon Olaf. "You got a room?" the big black man asked. Orson P. spied where the Geneva County Reaper continued in an editorial that was reprinted in full in the March 1964 issue. Blithely they continued to slam bigotry in the South in a reissue, usually by means of Hitler's big lie technique, assuming that integration of races and federal control of every facet of society is virtually an accomplished fact, and only a batch of Southern Slavs, in their pitiful ignorance, are holding out against the establishment of a universal utopia in which everyone is colorblind except Martin Luther King Jr. and Esquire, except Martin Luther King and Esquire Incorporated. I am a black. Somehow I had gotten the idea that I had within me attributes and talents that could produce many colorful effects, and that the measure of my success as a person would be the extent to which I could bring my internal pigments together to create a multicolored personality that would be visible to the world outside. And just as June Mayer's utopian vision of Harlem was born of a riot that started when a police officer shot a boy, so too was the story of Michael Brown Sr. I should have been there to protect him. The intimate story of Michael Brown Sr., The Agony of the Black Father in America by John A. Richardson, February 2015. It is Thanksgiving in Mike Brown's house. 3 days after a grand jury declined to bring charges against a policeman who killed his son and his city exploded in riots. Because they're Americans and this is the day Americans consecrate to gratitude, the Brown family tries to stick to easy topics: food, sports, music, children, absent relatives, everything but the nightmare that has changed their lives forever. Soon they will take their places around the table. Soon they will bow their heads and pray. Hanging on the corner of the TV is a black necktie with his dead son's face peeking out at the very bottom, like a bit of sun under a long black cloud. Tonight, everyone will imitate his office except for Brown. What can he possibly be thankful for at a time like this? Well, he can be thankful that the truth with regards to a Michael Brown, that was another thing that was not good about it, because he was Michael Brown Jr. His father was Michael Brown Sr. And they kept putting out there that Michael Brown died, and it wasn't even his name. So what you can be thankful for is that the truth with regards to Michael Brown, and how that relates to the public is available, is aware, even though they kept putting out there Michael Brown, Michael Brown, Michael Brown, and that wasn't the child's name. Stacey Woods, a David Foster Wallace story about a wife who wants to give great head so much that she buys a dildo and practices. I think we showed great restraint for not making this the subject of every article after that. Would have you believed that Esquire has an unshakable belief in the merits of fellatio? And after a blissful cruise for my 12 years of sex advice, which went down like a 50-year-old port, by the way, I stand by everything, particularly the stuff about herpes. Well, thankfully through my sexual abuse and the experience that I've had, I haven't had anything that doesn't, like I haven't experienced anything that doesn't go away like this. Um, that's a tough thing to carry around. Like I've knowledge of someone, that's a tough thing to carry around. That means that every time you meet somebody that you have to um, tell them, that before you have sex, that you have herpes, and that it's possible that they can get it too. That's just a weird thing. It's like, like how do you pray over yourself for that? It's just like you just gotta settle down or find a support group of, that's called We Have Herpes, and find somebody else who has herpes and where you can be happily herpes together as opposed to somebody that doesn't. You know, it's just like AIDS, where you got that on you about having AIDS, and you just have to find somebody, a support group of everybody with AIDS, and find somebody in that network or in that group that has AIDS like yourself to form a relationship with. That you know um, Gorgeous Dan by John Irvin, April 1973. He has no hips, no size. Uh, Wish there was no size, but he has no hips, no ass. Gable's body is pure future. It looks built to perform. Ain't I Pretty by Charles P. Pierce, September 2000. It's simply good to be worn side, even when it's December in Green Bay and the game is tight and your breath comes in tortured clouds, because you can have these moments in which everything comes together in a great way, like something from a deep and mystic sea. And it pops out of your eyes and your face and out the tips of your fingers and it dangles from the braids in your hair. The blazer. That's one thing I like. I like a blazer. That you could wear with jeans or you can wear with slacks or pants or a skirt or a dress. Just a nice blazer, which I don't own. I do have a blazer, but it's not the blazer. Hell Sucks by Michael Hurt, The Vietnam War, August 1968. You mean you don't have to be here? But they are glad you're here, really very grateful. That's kind of hilarious. He was saying, we're glad to see you, glad that you're here. But here where? In hell? With you? The Things That Carried Him by Chris Jones, The Iraq War, May 2008. They took hold of the poles of the stretcher, 3 on each side, with their friend from Indiana between them. Zipped up inside a black bed, tucked under a green army blanket, and they carried him into one of the Black Hawks. And they watched them lift off into the dawning dusk. And they saluted then, saluted the start of one journey and the end of another, holding their salutes all the while as the birds flew away until they were gone over the horizon. Lisa Taddeo. They are both as beautiful as they wanted to be. Nora says to Norman, our names word alike, but that's the end of it. What men like you do when they get women half right is they pluck one of these stitches pulled by the atmosphere or by some douchebag who slept with her lately. I know you shuffle between the two. Noah grabs the book, Tom Robbins on Deborah Winger's voice from 1993. It sounds as if it's been strung through Bacall and bogus honeymoon cheats and then hosed down with plum brandy. You're pissed because they got it right, says Norman. Holly Golightly was every Southern girl I ever knew in the big city. I wrote in my column for Esquire about beauty. According to the piece, the biggest bitch for young co-eds was that there weren't enough sexually liberated men to go around. The bachelor said Gloria was willing to take on any persona so long as the hot man of the moment was in town. And now we've got the annual Sexiest Woman Alive next to an argument that it's okay, finally, take your local 42-year-old to bed. Not to mention in April 2015, Women and Men issued one Esquire's handful of attempts in 82 years to dedicate an entire issue to how men relate to women in the hopes of finally understanding them. But they can't because it's not meant for them to. You know, it's like mother and father. You know, when God created Adam and Eve, he didn't necessarily put woman with man. It doesn't necessarily mean he put man with man either. Um, or woman with woman. But it's just complicated. You're like, well, does that mean that woman goes with woman? You know, I guess the best way to explain it, if you could just use Adam and Eve and find your woman to woman, and use Adam and Eve and find your man to man, as opposed to putting out Eve or putting out Adam for your man to man, or putting out Eve for your man to man, or putting out Adam for your woman to woman, then it'll be all right. You know, um, just finding your Adam with woman to woman, and finding your Eve with man to man. Man, maybe man was just put here to understand man and male, and not woman. Walter Mercado. El Eclipse Lunar y la Luna Llena en Acuario el 18 de agosto te brillarán de erotismo. And now we're ready for the book. And again, the book is Ben and Me, Robert Lawson, by Robert Lawson. And evidently, this is written from the perspective of a mouse. And like, what am I going to do when I finish with this book? I don't want to keep it. I might just throw it in the trash. He said that it's a classic children's story. Like, I don't want some mouse like, I don't want to be in the mouse community. I don't want some mouse trying to find who knew Ben and Me. So I really think that I'm just gonna throw it in the trash. Because some of these books I was gonna, but I was thinking about giving them back to Goodwill, but I highlighted them, and I don't know if the Goodwill is separate book. But they only accept the ones you don't have highlighters. So by Robert Lawson, scarce able to believe that such a remarkable document could be other than some ancient host, he sent it to various stories with their opinions. Scientists at the Smithsonian Institute have assured him that their analysis of the paper and ink proved them definitely to be of early American manufacture, and that the writing was most certainly done with a quill pen of that period. I cannot explain, but it seems reasonable to believe that statements made by one who lived on terms of such intimacy with this great man should be more trustworthy than those written by later scholars. The Guardian. I being first was Amos. The others went along through Bathsheba, Claude, Daniel, and so forth down to the babies, Zeno, Fawn, Isobel, and Zenas. We lived in the vestry of the old Christ Church on Second Street in Philadelphia, behind the paneling. That was a winter long to be removed for its severity. And night after night, our poor father would come in tired and wet, with his little sack practically empty. The prayer books were tough, but those sermons. Being the oldest, seemed fitting that I should go out into the world and make my own way. At least it left one less to be provided for. So saying farewell to all of them, my mother and father and all the children from that stream went to Zena's. I set forth on the coldest, windiest night of a cold and windy winter. Refreshed by this, my first real meal, and many a day I began to explore the house. In a large chair close to the fireplace sat a short, thick, round-faced man trying to write by the light of a candle. Reaching for these, he would drop his pen. By the time he found that and got settled to write, the candle would flicker from the draught. When that calmed down, the sneezing would start again, and so it went. Up the back of the chair I went, and under cover of the next for the sneezes, in I slid, and so to bed. When I woke, my fur cap home was hanging on the bedpost, and I in it. Not wishing to be critical, I said, "Well, just suppose you spend 2 or 3 weeks in bed with pneumonia. Would that be a waste? Or," and then there'd be doctor bills. The fire blazed up then, and the room became a little better, but not much. And outside our church, there used to be a hot chestnut man, but the smoke, he objected. It was shaped much like a small fireplace set up on legs with two iron doors in the front and a smoke pipe running from the back to the fireplace. He had taken the Andy wines out of the fireplace and boarded that up so we wouldn't lose any heat up the chimney. With those short legs and that thin iron bottom, the heat. Down on the dock, said I, we used to hear the shipwrecks telling how the sailors built their cooking fires on board the ship. He put a layer of sand in the bottom of the bed, the bricks on top of that, and then set the Andy rounds in. Eureka, he claimed, stepping back to admire it and tripping over the saw. And by the time, do you know? And by the way, do you come to the pantry on the way up? He was gone before I finished, but when he came back with the logs, he did have a fine slab of cheese, a loaf of rye bread, and a good big tankard of ale. She drew fine, and Bill was so proud and excited I had to do another shot with him before he would settle down to food. The bargain. I think that being comfortably warm for one is tough that. Not once in all the rest of his life did that bread, cheese, and wheat fail to reach the vestry twice a week, regular clockwork. Then went to bed. Ben, who was fairly well skilled with the needle, began to contrive many ingenious little improvements with the fur cap. Along the bank came trotting a half-grown mongrel dog, seeking mischief as is the usual habit of such groups. The cur, spying Ben, rushed to the bank, barking furiously. Noting the pile of clothing and failing to discover its owner, they became greatly excited. I was wakened by the footfalls of an approaching figure which I took to be Ben, but few could have recognized him, ludicrous and bedraggled apparition, the famous Dr. Franklin. His wet hair, which hung in long disordered wisps, was surmounted by the fur cap, worn at a drunkenly waggish angle. I was about to relieve his anxiety when my attention was caught by the approach of a great crowd of people from the direction of Philadelphia. Ben looked frantically about, but there was no escape save in the water, and of that he had plenty. Without a moment's loss, I slipped into the cap so gently as to be entirely unnoticed. Ben brightened up at once, and by the time the procession reached home, was as pleased with himself as though he had done something really smart, instead of just scaring half the town to death. But, said Ben, consider the maxims it contains. Think of the lives that have been molded by their wisdom. Early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. When have you ever been to bed early or risen early except when you had insomnia? Perhaps if I lived by the maxim, I should also be wise, he suggested meekly. There's a fine idea to be putting into the heads of cats, and you, my friend. There seems to be some reason in that, so we let the matter drop. The long afternoons there, while splendid for napping, sometimes were a bit tiresome, so I used to put her some myself. I did not bother to tell Ben of these improvements, for he was busy with other concerns, but a week later they were brought to his attention in a rather dramatic fashion. What appears to be your trouble? The harbor master hid in the closet, but Ben suddenly smiled and opening the window calmly stepped out on the balcony. There was considerable mumbling and thumbing of almanacs under the torchlight, and one or two voices could be heard to say, "Gum, he's right," and "Good old Ben." Ben never thereafter mentioned my little adventure in me, so I tried to be somewhat more lenient about his maxims. To me, they seem a perfectly senseless waste of time, but if they amuse you, all right, go ahead with them. I should tear the lightning from the skies, he went on, and harness it to do the bidding of man. Frankly, I was bored by the whole affair, but since Ben seemed rather hurt by my attitude, I tried to take a little interest. While we ate a light lunch of bread and cheese, I told Ben of my studies. Determined that no errors should mar this performance since it meant so much to Ben, I carefully went over each wire and piece of apparatus, comparing them with his diagrams and descriptions. They were watched with great interest by the audience and generously applauded. As Ben turned the knob, the governor rose straight in the air in much the same manner that I used to when Ben applied the spark to my tail. "The boy," I hissed. Ben never noticed though, being wrapped up in war experiments. Every time a house or tree was struck, Ben was the first to reach the scene, questioning all who had been present as to how the bolt had looked, smelled, or sounded, what sensations they had felt, and so on. They're both annoying, horrid, dangerous nuances that should be let strictly alone. 2 days later, I was waked from my afternoon nap by a terrible clatter overhead. "You see, Amos," he explained, while connecting wires to various instruments. "The trouble with most people is that they lack the calm observation of the trained scientific mind. Time after time I had rushed to the scene of one of these lightning strokes, and all I could gather from the bystanders was that they were terribly scared. As flash followed flash, blue sparks ran up and down the wires. The brass andirons glowed as though dipped in phosphorus, and streaks of fire shot from the candlesticks on the mantelpiece. The unusually violent crash that followed brought a faint moan from the bed. The rest was covered by the bedclothes, while two pillows covered completely muffled his head. "And now, Dr. Franklin," I jeered as he sheepishly rose from the bed, "would you lend a bit of your calm scientific skill to getting me out of this job? And by the way, what did you observe as to the true nature of lightning?" I feel sure that brooding on the subject must have seriously affected his mind, but this is the only way in which I can excuse his treacherous conduct. The gentle motions of the kite, the warmth of the sun, the broad view spread out below all combined to make it a thoroughly restful and enjoyable experience. In this I could cast off my little porch and go coasting in a long glorious swoop to land in the earth far below. That deceit raises up ahead in such idyllic surroundings and bring to an end these innocent diversions seems particularly painful. So much so that Ben dropped the subject and had, I thought, given up the idea completely. One hot July afternoon I had run aloft, and lulled by the gentle motion and the sun's warmth that indulged in a long nap. Jerked on the string to signal Ben for no response. The ugly details of his plot began to taunt me. I sought wildly for some method of descending the string, but the wind by now was so strong that all my efforts were required to cling to the frail platform. A shock after stiffening shock ran through my body. There was no further doubt in my mind as to the nature of lightning. Nearing the earth, I saw that Ben had taken cover in a shed and was regarding my approach with the greatest eagerness. Despite his questions and feelings, I pursued my angry way back to town, never pausing until I had reached the shelter of the vestry. He wrote it into the agreement. We signed it and shook hands on the bargain. The children were presented to Ben, who was most gracious to them all, patting their heads and asking questions about their schooling and pastimes. As you doubtless know, relations between these American colonies and our mother country England, have become very badly strained. So much so that I have been chosen to go to England and lay our case before the King and Parliament to attempt to make clear to them the justice of our grievances, to avoid the dangers of rebellion and possibly of war. While some of those present felt that our wrongs were slightly overdone, everyone was impressed by the force of Red's writing. He did copy it, and the next day it was adopted by the other members of the committee. All were much pleased with themselves for producing such a splendid document. When on the 4th of July it was adopted by the Congress as the Declaration of Independence, there was a great celebration in Philadelphia. He managed to burn most of his fingers, but when he singed my tail severely with the firecracker, I finally rebelled, writing to reveal who had finally ruined this declaration. Not only was he a magnificent figure of a man and soldier, but the wheat upon the Mount Vernon was of a superb quality. There were always a few ranks to be found in his boot tops and pocket flasks. On one of his visits to men, however, he appeared greatly cast down. But to what country shall we appeal? That seems to be the question. Very well, said General Washington. France it seems to be. So we sailed, and the less said about the trip the better. By the time I had recovered, we were comfortably lodged in the house of Passy, a small town on the outskirts of Paris. There, for some unaccountable reason, proved to be tremendously popular with the French people. One of them even tried to borrow my home for her milliner to copy. Naturally, I was kept extremely busy watching all these people and telling them the direction. By flattery and smooth-tongued promises, he managed to borrow millions of francs for General Washington and his Reagan army. Now here you've come on one of the biggest borrowing expeditions of the age, but where's the start line? My nerves are on edge all the time I'm here. All the time I'm there then. I just can't stand much more of it. The story of her wrongs, which she unfolded to me, is too long to be set forth here. Although never able to see them, she learned that they were held in a small cell directly beneath the Queen's throne. Not only was I touched by her beauty and helplessness, but all my Republican sympathies cried out against these wicked injustices by the pampered aristocrats of a desolate court. Though of humble birth, I have played no small part in the affairs of many nations. Tears filled the beautiful pink eyes of my words. Oh, Monsieur Anna, she said softly, could you but accomplish this, what happiness would you bring to a beloved family? Although I had spoken so boldly to Sophia, the task that I had set myself seemed, on reflection, well nigh an impossible one. For one must to defy the entire court of France, rescue 7 captive children from beneath the very throne of the Queen, and then transport them and their mother to America, appeared to be more than even I could accomplish. He was having such a good time being admired, dining out and showing off at court, that I could not get him even to consider our return to America. Mr. Jefferson is to be America's first ambassador to France, and then, rather sadly, and I suppose will no longer be necessary here. I've been telling you that for several months, I replied. You need a sense of attention there, certainly. A really brilliant thought struck me. I will be that leader. Ben came in before I had finished and began to preen himself before the mirror. The Battle of Versailles. The signal is up, madam, and not a move or a sound before that signal. Peering through a curtain, we could see 3 hairdressers and 2 maids arranging Madame Bouillon's patches for the ball. I had seen many elaborate hair arranged at the court, but this far exceeded anything I had ever beheld. The powdered curls rising to a height of 4 feet above her head, were arranged to represent the waves of the ocean. Long red, white, and blue ribbons inscribed with liberty and justice flew from the bowsprit. From the bowsprit. Not a sound or movement before that. One clever little fellow clung to Ben's watchfob, where he gave the appearance to being a charm or ornament of some sort. Once we were safely started for the ball, I gave a sigh of relief. All seemed to be going well. The king, pale and trembling, rose from his throne and rushed toward the window, only to be met by Red and his shrieking rabble of slum mice and sewer rats. Thereupon the king, also fainting, was further badly trampled by the fleeing ladies of the court. The white mice of the palace guard, although taken by surprise, soon rallied, driving back the first charges of my undisciplined peasants. But now the Swedes and Russians joined the fray, and the battle raged furiously about the ankles of the queen. The Swedes and the Russians, led by the intrepid Red, battled doggedly, but the tide was turning against them. From every corridor of the palace came swarms of white mice to reinforce the ranks of the enemy. Aye, aye, sir, said the bosun. The cutlasses is flashing, the deserters fled, shrieking before them. I began to fear for his safety. The voyage home was made more pleasant for me by the gracious presence of Sophia and her charming children. There'll be bands and parades. Do you think there'll be fireworks? The mayor, the city council, and the first volunteer fire brigade were all hugging, dressing their best uniforms. I left them to their newfound happiness and accompanied Ben to a great banquet that was being given his honor by the city council. Ben was now old enough to keep out of trouble fairly well. Many of the court customs that they had brought from France, especially their fondness for dancing all night, were considered somewhat foolish by the more staid Philadelphia mice, but their gaiety and lively ways made them most popular among the younger set. The arrival of these sprightly foreigners brought a new joy and lightness into their Villador lives, and they became among the most regular attendants at Sophia's social gatherings. It was one of the happiest moments of my life when, at the brilliant triple wedding ceremony, these 6 young hearts became as 3. It is not surprising that I preferred to stay at home, surrounded by these lively young ones, rather than to accompany Ben to his innumerable dinners and committee meetings. I sat through all of them and suspect that Ben usually did too. The approach of his 81st birthday promised a solution of the difficulty. A few days before his birthday, I purchased the finest beaver hat to be found in the whole city of Philadelphia. On the eve of Ben's birthday, we gathered behind the books in his study. All my brothers and sisters from Bathsheba to Zenas, with their husbands, wives, and children, were there, as well as Sophia, her husband, and their children. Promptly in the stroke of midnight, he nodded over his writing. We swarmed forth, the children's gay voices upraised in the chorus of "Happy Birthday to You." There has been time to finish only one, she explained, but the meat will be completed before cold weather set in. The gifts and honors that had helped that had been heaped upon him by the great people of foreign lands. Sin was nothing in his eyes to the beauties of his hat. He tried it on before the mirror and fitted perfectly. After the happy dawn had departed, I could see that Ben looked a little worried. You know that I'll always be here in the old fur cap, hanging on the bedpost if you really need me. But you're 81 years old today, Ben. And that was Ben and me. It was An Astonishing Life of Benjamin Franklin by his good mouse Amos. Discovered, edited, and illustrated by Robert Lawson. That would be nice if I could do that for my trilogy. If I could just say discovered, um, conceptualized. But anyhow, that was Ben and Me with regards to the book. It was on Benjamin Franklin, and it was in the perspective of his mouse. That was written by Robert Lawson. So this has been, and I was thinking to close, I said that I broke up with series. So I'm trying to see about other locations. I tried the one off of Broad Street. So I'm gonna try, and that was the one on Temple Avenue. There's one in Chester, and I tried the one in Henrico. So maybe I should try the one in Chester. And then there's one on Busy Street, which I don't know where that is. So I'm gonna write these addresses down, because I don't want to just break up with them and then, because I said no to the one in Henrico. And then there's one on the Lawson. So I'm going to Richmond today. I want to see which one is closer. Let's see. I think it's the one on Midlothian. Let's see, let me put it here. And put this here, so it's 49. I'm not gonna reveal their address, but they have some other locations that might not be the same way. So one location takes 36 minutes to get there. Okay. The one in Chester takes a shorter amount of time to get there. 6 minutes. And let's try the one in Richmond. So the one in Chester is the one that we're going to go to. So I'm going to try the one in Chester. on the middle crossroad lane. And this book, I'm gonna throw in the trash. But it's written by a mouse, and I'm not trying to make little mouse babies. So I'm gonna throw it in the trash. And this has been the Late Late Show with BT. Again, we started in 2015, February 2015 in New York when we discovered the L word. Um, and let me see, when did the L word come out? The L word came out in 2004, so they got us on board like 10, like 11 years later. I still haven't watched all of it, but I so get what they were trying to, what they're trying to get in there and get and wake up. You know, they're definitely trying to wake me up, and I'm awoke when it comes to the issues of lesbianism, especially on a national level. So we started this show. I started this show. I don't say we, because I use, it's like, they're like La La Land just had to come out after this because I'm like, I was thinking there would be a co-host, that I wouldn't be doing this alone. That I wouldn't do this alone, that I would have a co-host. And so I can do it alone. Um, I can write the trilogy alone, but it is so much better with a co-host. But it's hard to find somebody I'm trying to find somebody that can be Brad, that can be a Brad Pitt, so that's what I'm trying to find. But that's who it has to find me. It has to be Brad Pitt. And it's not about his money. He doesn't have to have more than, like that's a minimum. He has to have a minimum of what Brad Pitt has. Has to be him when it comes to fit. And that would probably be the best way to beat him is not having any kids. So, it's not something that could change, so that's who I'm looking for. And that's who has an opening to find me. And this has been, again, we started in 2015. So February 2015. So we've been doing this 2 years now, consistently with YouTube. YouTube used to block me because I would include some other things. It was just a little too soon for what they had and for what I had, and just needed to come back to the basics at first, like what we're doing now with no visual, because I can have facial jewelry. Don't want to get caught up in that being the show. That my dress or like what I look like. What does that look like for the show? Do I do short hair like Ellen? Do I do straight hair like Oprah? What does the show look like? And so we had to come back to this where it's just talent and intellectual property, and see how this goes. As long as there is internet available and there's a space where I can have, because I stopped doing this out of my home, and now I go to a study room where I use a study room to do this. Now, so I had to make that transition. And so it's only during certain hours, the certain hours I wouldn't be doing the show, just because the place where they're studying, the library where the study room is not open. It's not a 24-hour situation. And I made a decision not to do anything creative in my home. I'm not writing the book in my home. My home is just a place for me to rest. And sometimes I use my computer, but that's where it is right now. I don't cook in my home. I don't really have a kitchen. There's a kitchen there, but it's not a kitchen that's acceptable to me. Um, so it's a challenge, because it really shouldn't be that way, you know. So um, keeping you abreast of everything that's going on with me, how things are progressing, things have progressed in terms of prayer. Um, so other than that, and I'm thinking, I don't know if I can use the business since it is, since it's not involving money. I don't know if I can do that, but I haven't thought about it. But I'm gonna end the show because I have to tinkle. And but there's a lot to it. Again, there's still an interest in Brad and in Brad Pitt, and find someone who beats Brad Pitt when it comes to a relationship with me. And I'm not out there like that. Brad is out there like that. So I have to figure out, that's where I'm supposed to be. He's not supposed to come out of being public. He's supposed to stay with the public. That means that is where I'm supposed to be. So I had to figure it out, and mass communications was my answer. And then after that, I pursue acting, as a master in acting, and continue. I plan on continuing with the acting while I'm doing mass communication. So we'll see how that goes. And I'm looking to do that for the fall of 2017 because I know I needed to be back in school in 2016 and 2017. It didn't happen in 2016, so it's supposed to happen in 2017. Ironically, I have on this shirt that has 16 on the back with Fabulous, and on the front it has Pride. So I don't know what happened or what was going on in 2016 where it wasn't a good thing. And another thing that we have to discuss is that the UN has a new Secretary General. So we have to discuss that and get into some of the information that I'm gonna look into some of the information they've emailed me by being on their email list. So we'll get into that for the next show. So this has been a Late Late Show with BT. Bye.